Welcome to Trail Times with Big Bear Events. This is episode 1 officially. We had the trailer last time, so we're calling this episode 1. I've upgraded my microphone, so hopefully, although touching it's probably not the best idea, hopefully it's going to be sounding better, and hopefully it'll be produced a bit better as well. Obviously this is all brand new to me, so it's just about trying to learn how to do these things the best possible way that I can. But I do know that listening to podcasts with bad sound is infuriating. So I will do my best to make sure that the sound is of good quality. The plan is to do some effectively, without sounding too professional, outside broadcasts by doing bits at the events. The sound quality may be variable because we're going outside and I've not got the BBC with me to record these things. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully for a lot of this introductory type stuff, we'll have good sound quality because I hate it. I hate listening to podcasts that have poor sound quality. All you've got to do is get the sound quality right and you can forgive everything else. So hopefully we'll have better sound quality. I'm recording this on the 20th of January, Monday the 20th. I think it's the third Monday of January is officially Blue Monday. I forgot that. It's quite a good thing to do adverts around. I know it's really cliche, and it shouldn't be something that people use to try and sell you magic potions, but people tend to be on their phones on these sort of times, and so it's quite good to be there to advertise towards it. The number of entries that I get between Christmas and the first week of January is huge. People are looking to do stuff for the new year and new year, new me and all that sort of cliche stuff. But people are, they've got a new diary and they want to fill it. So it does make sense to advertise for these sort of times, and to make sure I've got posts out there to remind people of my events. What has worked out quite nicely this time is that the Squirrel Challenge, which is on Friday in Daventry, has sold out. So I can't really promote that. So all I can do is promote the next available event, which is Wright and Paul's, the Rhino Challenge on the 4th of February. But yeah, it's filling your Instagram feeds full of everything that says Blue Monday, Blue Monday, buy my stuff, Blue Monday, buy my stuff, is annoying. I get annoyed when I'm looking at it myself as well. But it works, unfortunately. If you're going to keep buying these things, then we're going to keep on advertising them. It's very, very annoying. So this is the first episode of this. As I said in the trailer, and as I've said throughout, these aren't going to be long. So if you're doing your long run to these podcasts, that's not a long run. We cater for everybody, but this is going to be somebody setting a parkrun world record type length, or a very, very short little warm down. This is very much a short podcast. I don't want to just ramble on, which I'm already doing. So I'm keen to make them short and snappy. Make sure you subscribe because they're going to be really irregular as well. So you can't just sort of rely on it coming out on a Saturday morning or a Tuesday afternoon or whatever it is. They're going to come out when there's bits to say or when I think there's been too big a gap between each one, which essentially is why I'm doing the one today. So I'm keen to give a little bit of insight as to what I do with Big Bear Events and the glamorous life of a race director. So today I thought I'd spend 30 minutes creating our timing chips. So if you've not done our events before, we use reusable timing chips. Gone onto a slightly new version. I've got an old one here if you are watching on YouTube. So these are what we used to use, these small little, they call them dog tags, but these small little tags. And we're now going to a slightly harder plastic one that you attach to your shoe because they have much higher read rates when it's on your shoe. So it means that I can essentially let the computer do the work. I can sit back with a cup of tea and everybody's happy. So it works much better using these hard plastic ones. So for our Big Bear Brigade members, where they use them over and over and over, and sometimes they accidentally wash them because they have their own numbers, they take them home. Where they do that, they can start to get a bit tired. So what often happens is somebody will come to me at the beginning of the event and be like, oh, my chip's a bit ruined, can you do me a new one? It's really difficult to do it at the beginning of the event because it's all a bit of a rush. So I went out to everybody and I said, right, who needs new numbers? And I think it's maybe 10 or 15 people do. Not a problem. I thought I'd just do it quickly this morning, test the kit, everything great. However, a new laptop using the time and equipment then took me about 3 hours to try and actually get it to talk to each other. I'm all right with tech. I sort of grown up with it a little bit, I guess. But when it gets much more beyond turning it off and turning it back on again to make it work, I'm sort of out of it. So I got it to work in the end. I did these 10 little tags. I made sure everything's sorted out for Friday as well. So I've got all of the timing chips that I need to make sure that they're there ready on the day. Sometimes people go home with them, so I just like to make sure that they are all there. So yeah, that should have been a 30-minute job, and it took me about 3 hours, which is a real pain. And that is a lot of race directing. I guess it's a lot of running your own business generally, but with race directing, it's these small little tasks that on its own probably take you 5 minutes or whatever. It shouldn't take you very long, but then it just doesn't go right, and then you've got to do this and it's that, and it's another complication, and so on and so on. So it's just lots of faff, really, to put it bluntly. And that's pretty much what I've been doing most of the day, is doing that, and then pottering about doing a few other bits, making sure we've got, like I say, all the chips ready for our event on Friday, and then making sure that I'm just dealing with the emails and things that come in, because a lot of the job is just dealing with emails. Just going to have a quick little look. So how many have I had today? Not loads, maybe 15 or 20 emails, but I like to deal with them straight away. So if you have emailed previously and needed something, hopefully I've replied pretty quickly. I try to pride myself on replying quickly, much to the annoyance of my wife when I'm on my phone replying to people. But I think that as a small business, it shows care and attention to get back to people quickly. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it'll take a day or whatever, but I try to make sure I get back to people really, really quickly, because I think that then separates you from the big corporate conglomerates that, you know, they've got 3 people working in their customer relations. We're talking events here, obviously. Even the big ones don't have thousands of people working for them answering queries. So I like to try and make sure I get back to people as quickly as possible with all the information that I possibly can do, even if it's just a holding response, because I just think it's good customer service. So that's what my days look like today, knocking things over on my desk, which is excellent. So that is what the days look like. And then during the week, I've got to get stuff ready for the event that's happening on Friday, as I keep on saying. Leaving it a little bit close, but all of the beer for the year, so it's going to be crates worth of beer, is going to turn up on Wednesday, which is too close for comfort, but was a bit out of my hands. By the time, so to add some context to that, so for the last 5 or 6 years, we've been using Church Farm Brewery in Warwick, who are brilliant, absolutely amazing, wonderful beer, brilliant people, just top people. I have no bad words to say about them whatsoever, or their beer, or anything at all. However, giving people, having the option of alcoholic beer at the end with what I would assume, I think I'm right to assume, is a population of people with how to phrase this properly, the number of people with dependency issues around drugs and alcohol, or former addicts within long distance running, I'd suggest is greater than the general population. I don't have the data for that. I'm making a bit of an assumption, but I think that's probably right. And so having that beer at the end has always been, I drink, I don't drink loads, but I do drink a bit. And I don't really have a massive issue with it, but I know people do. And so the alcohol-free beers that you can get now are really nice. So we've got Jump Ship Brewing, and they are based in Scotland, and we're having alcohol-free cans of beer at the end of every single event. there's a few of the people. One of the main guys there is an ultra runner as well. He's done stuff with Centurion, he's run with Centurion events, so he knows a bit of what what I'm about and what we do. And so they were keen to get involved, and so we've got our Big Bear non-alcoholic beer. I can't remember how I phrased it, but essentially non-alcoholic beer for the finish line. So I'm really keen to get that for the event. But by the time we'd got that sorted, and I got the labels made, and then I got the printing, and then Christmas, and then brewing, and so on, has meant we're cutting it incredibly fine. So hopefully it turns up on Wednesday. Potentially it might turn up on Thursday, which will be a bit annoying if it does, because I'm going to have a pallet full of beer on the driveway that I'm going to have to lug about while having to mess around with stuff for the event happening the day after. So that's not ideal. So I've got that happening this week, and then just other bits getting sorted out for the event as well. Like I say, it's just a lot of faff, a lot of printing bits out, just sorting out last little details. The day before the event, same as always, I'll go in the morning, so my wife will take the kids to school, so I can then get off early, go and mark the course early, go and take pictures and put bits onto socials to make sure people know what's happening on the course, so they know what trainers to bring, and so on. Then go and pick up a hire van, fill the hire van full of the majority of the stuff that I own, so it is then ready for the event, which takes a couple of hours to sort that out. Get back, fill the water, start cooking some pizza to then have that then ready to then go and get the kids after school, and so on and so on. So it's all very finely balanced to make sure that it all fits in, which it does. And when the local events, so Daventry, so I live in Rugby, I'm sitting in Rugby, or standing in Rugby at the moment, when they're local events, it makes all the difference, which is why when people suggest going to further afield and it's an hour and a half away, it sounds silly, but that extra 30 minutes just ruins my whole day. So I'd like to keep it within an hour. Going up to Cannock Chase, which is an hour and 10 minutes, that little bit extra, and the M6 does make it tight on those days. So yeah, it sounds really sort of pathetic, that extra 15-20 minutes, but it does make a big difference, because it only has to take for some sort of problem at the course or problems driving around, and then that just sort of throws the whole day. And fundamentally, I still need to go and get my kids at 3:00, so it just makes it all a bit difficult. But that's what I'll be doing this week. And then on Saturday, I'll be at the run show, so hopefully you'll see some of you there. I never really know what I'm meant to get out of the run show, but if there's 30,000 runners half an hour up the road, it seems really, really silly to not go and try and do something. Networking and that sort of stuff is so far out of my comfort zone, but then so is this. But I never really feel like I make the best of it. So I'll be there. I'll be fully branded, as I often am, and hopefully I'll get to see some people that that I haven't seen for a while. People that we're partnering with, so Protein Rebel, I know that they'll be there. The guys from Ultra will be there as well, so I'll go and say hello to those. And then I'll be helping on the Petzl stand for a bit as well, with a sort of Centurion hat on. Well, a Centurion Petzl hat on, as it were, but obviously Petzl brilliant supporters of our evening 10Ks as well, so I'm keen to chip in and help out. But otherwise, I never really quite know what to make of it. It's nice to wander around. I often get asked about from other people running, like, oh, are you going to have a stand? And it's so expensive, so expensive to have a stand. And then that's just the actual stand. Then you've got to dress it with things, make it so that people actually want to turn up and look at whatever you're going to do. Then you've got to actually try and sell enough entries to try and get that money back. I have no idea how any event company is going to make that a good use of time or money. It baffles me every time. Every time I've been the last 3 or 4 years, I can't remember, but I've been quite a few times, and there'll be smaller event companies there, and I don't know, without being too rude. I don't really know why they're there. I don't know how they're going to make that money back. It's good for brand awareness, I guess. But for the thousands of pounds it costs to be there, the amount of Facebook ads you could place for that has got to be better value. And if you're going there to meet with other brands and talk to people, if you're then tied to your area, what your stall essentially that you've purchased, you can't get out to see anybody. So it's an odd thing, but if you are in the Midlands, it is a nice little day out, and there's lots of free entry codes going around at the moment as well. So it's just something to do. There's not loads of discounts and loads of things being given away. I don't really think that's how these sorts of things work anymore. I think it was happening 15, 20 years ago. You'd be able to come out with a plastic bag full of 6,000 pens with different brands on and bouncy balls and all this sort of stuff. But they just don't really seem to do that anymore. But if you're looking for new trainers, it's a brilliant place to go to try on some new trainers. There's lots of good talks. I know Ali's got the Ali Bailey, that is, has the Green Runners Village. I got the name wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's that they've got a village there doing talks there. There's the ultra running stage as well. I'm sure that will be good. And then there's the main stage for all the other running things. So it is a good day, but as a event organizer essentially looking to go for work, it is difficult to see how you can really make it a profitable day out, especially when you've got to pay about £4 million to park at the NEC. But yeah, so that's my week, if you're that fussed, but hopefully it will give you something to think about. I did say I'd mention what running I was doing as well. So I am doing the Trans-Gran Canaria Marathon in half term. So I've managed to wangle a holiday. We're going on holiday and I'm doing a marathon at the end of it. So that's quite nice. I did the Trans-Gran Canaria Marathon 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And it's incredible. So I'm really quite excited about going out there and doing it again. It's now also part of the World Trail Majors short course. That might not be the right term. But it's now part of that Trans-Gran Canaria, the main event, which is straight across the whole island. That is one of the main World Trail Majors events, which is also what the South Downs Way 100 with Centurion is part of that. But the marathon is now part of their shorter course, and also the South Downs Way 50k, which is a new event this year, which I'm also race directing for Centurion. That is also part of their short course as well. Doesn't really make any difference to me, that part, when it comes to running. It's just an amazing event taking you across. It's incredible, absolutely beautiful, incredibly difficult for me. I'm just a very average runner that doesn't train enough or doesn't really run far enough anyway. I've massively upped the amount of running that I've been doing in the last 4 months or so. We had a lot of work done to the house. It was very, very busy life-wise for the last year or so, or last 18 months even. But the last 4 months I've been getting up early and going out running. Tomorrow, in theory, I say tomorrow, so Tuesday morning, so by the time this goes out, I'll have done this or not. Should be going out for a nice long run. The plan is to go over 18 miles, which I think might be the first time I've done that for a long time, maybe a year. So we'll see how it goes. I tend to go out 3 or 4 times a week and do sort of 6 or 7 miles each time. So it's sort of regular, but not super long. Not training for a mountain event, or I'd call a mountain event anyway. So we'll see how it goes, but I absolutely love that event. It was brilliant last year, the last time I did it. And so when it falls in half term, then we'll just happen to be going on a holiday, and I might just happen to add that on the end. So that's quite good. So that's the ramble. More ramble coming, don't worry. What I thought would be nice little thing to do each time is to try and do a slightly longer answer to questions that I get a lot. So frequently asked questions that I get quite a lot, and then add a little bit around it rather than the one line that's probably on the website. So one of the main questions that I get asked on email and sort of just all the time really is, why are the events during the week? So I 100% understand that 99% of running events are on a Saturday or a Sunday. I think the majority are probably on the Sunday as well. So even a Saturday is sort of a rarity. The reason that they're on midweek is because it works. So it works for me because I am what I would term the primary parent. So my wife and I take the kids to school. So I've got primary school aged twins, and we take them to school sort of, I don't know, 50-50, something like that. But I pick them up from school every day. So I've put myself as the first person to be called if they were sick at school, because I would be the one that goes to get them apart from on event days. So I try to work my life around being home for 3 o'clock in the day. So if I did all my events at the weekends, I would never see my children, and I don't really want that. And there's a lot of people that are sort of in a similar-ish situation. So we get lots of parents that come to the events because they can drop the kids at school. If they're sort of working flexi time, or they're self-employed, or they can sort of, as long as they're not working Monday to Friday 9 to 5 or in a school. I appreciate if you work in a school, it's pretty much a no-go. But there's lots of people that can shift their work around a little bit. And so if you can then do your long run, or you can do your marathon on a Tuesday, you can spend Saturday and Sunday with your kids. So it works for those people, and it works for people that don't work Monday to Friday 9 to 5, which in today's economy is a lot more people than you might necessarily think. So there's loads and loads of people that are shift workers, or that are sort of in the blue light services, so that the safest place to have some sort of medical emergency is at one of our events, because we've got so many police, ambulance, doctors, nurses, all sorts that are there, that if you had some sort of issue, they'd be there to help you out. So it just does work. So it works for that sense. It works in terms of people being available, but also the places where we run would not work on a Saturday and Sunday. So, for instance, Daventry Country Park, where we're going to be on Friday. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. So I ask people when they enter if they want to fill out a little survey to let me know essentially a bit about them, and then I'll give them a little discount if they fill the survey out. So I have had 162 responses, and only 35% of those work Monday to Friday 9 to 5. So that means that there's 2/3 of people that have different type of shift pattern. And before people sort of jump to the obvious conclusion, there's only 3% of those people aren't working, and only 14% of those are retired. So people just work different patterns, or they work part-time, or they sometimes take a day off. Anyway, so you get that part in terms of people turning up, but also the places where we do run, they wouldn't be any good on a Saturday or a Sunday. Daventry Country Park. So we are going to fill the car park full of cars on Friday. It's going to be tight to park everybody in there, so park sensibly if you are listening. So it's really important. So doing the event on a Friday or a Tuesday or whatever means that normally there'd only be 5 cars in that car park, because most people are at school. Most people are at work. And so there wouldn't be that many people in there. So the park are happy for us to be there because we're not really in anybody's way. If we were to go on a really nice Sunday in June, the park's full of people already. So there's nowhere for us to park the cars, but also then when you do go around the park, it's full of people. So their day's spoiled because there's people running around them the whole time, but your run's rubbish as well because you're having to dodge the kids and bikes and everything else. So it just works really nicely. I am never going to get 700 people turn up on a Tuesday to run laps around Brighton pools, right? That isn't happening, but my business doesn't require that. So I do need to have a certain level for it to be profitable, and for it to carry on. And we get that at 90% of them. Every now and then there'll be just effectively, I don't really know why, but we'll have very few people in an event. Happens rarely. It seems to happen in October. So in my planning diary, I've just written October, do not do events, because it happens the last 3 Octobers, I think, where I've had 50, 60 people turn up. Whereas I've got 130, or thereabouts, over 120 signed up for Daventry, which is brilliant. I can make money on that. It's not too many people running around. We've got the right number of volunteers. That is brilliant. And the next events are filling up around those sort of numbers. So if I can get around 100 people, then that works. And 8 years of doing this, 100 plus events of doing it, and there's people that want to do it. It does work. And so that's the model. So the way that I can, without being too much of a capitalist, the way that I can make more money out of this is by putting on more events, not by having less bigger events. So that's why we've crammed an extra event in between New Year and Easter, and I'll get some more events in at the end of the year as well, because that's how I keep the business going, is by putting more events on and having roughly the same numbers rather than trying to get 30 extra people at each event. That's how it works. So that's why we do it midweek. And it is niche, and it doesn't work for teachers. They all seem to find the website and tell me it doesn't work for teachers. So I'm fully aware of that. But that is why we do those events. We have the Trail Fest events on at a weekend. The one at Southsea Forest, it is quite congested around the HQ area. But the beauty of those sorts of forests is that as soon as you go more than about 100 metres away from the cafe, no one else walks there. So for the majority of the course, you are quite sort of on your own. Then when you come back through so the start-finish area, then it gets a bit crowded and a bit busy, but that's fine. And at Cannock Chase, we're nowhere near the visitor centre. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And so, you get some people on bikes, but you get very, very few people up there on a Saturday, even when we've been there in the past on the hottest day of the year or the longest day of the year, perfect conditions, lovely. There's just like 10 people on bikes. So they don't really disrupt the day and we don't get in their way. So it works really nicely. But I can't do all of those events. And like I say, I don't want to be away all those weekends. My kids do triathlon, they do football. So I want to be around for that stuff. Give it a few years and I'm fully aware they won't want me anywhere, but I'll still need to taxi them around, I'm sure. So that is why the events are on a weekend. So like you say, hopefully that's a little FAQ if you did wonder as to why we do these things. So the plan is, when I do these, is to do these little FAQs for each one. Unbelievably, I've been talking for nearly half an hour now with nothing to say. So I don't know how this is going to go when I do have things to say. So I'll leave it there. But like I say, this week, event at the end of the week, will be at the running show at the end. Hopefully, when I am at the event at the end of the week, I'll try and record some sort of people talking about why they're there, what they're doing, how it's gone, so on and so on. I'll also take all my little recording kit with me to the running show as well, where I'll try and catch people that are there. I don't know what I'll ask them. I'll probably ask them what are they doing? Are they enjoying themselves? And we'll see how it goes. So we'll see how that goes. So that is the plan for the format for most of them, is to fit them around the events, get people talking about what they're like at the events, so that if you're on the fence at all, you can see that the events are good fun and should come along. It's just a nice day out. That said, on Friday, there's 40-mile-hour winds and rain all day. But the way that we're going to get around that is we're going to look at the Met Office forecast, which says that there's just some light drizzle and cloudy in the afternoon. So it very, very much depends on whether the Met Office or the BBC is correct. Who knows? We've had shockers. The last event, I think we had, we were standing looking at the forecast that said sort of really beautiful, just sun, and it's just absolutely tipping it down. So who knows? I don't know. We'll see. When I come to record the next one, it'll probably be really obvious, because you'll hear the hammering of the rain on top of the gazebos, because I'm not going out in the rain. That's the beauty of race directing, is that I can just decide to stay underneath the canopy. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. If you've got this far, well done. So that's me. Thank you very much.